Hey guys, gonna try to wrap day 5 and 6 of Kratom Withdrawal into one video here because I missed yesterday, but I would like to try to keep it, you know, kind of going where I can see every day how things are progressing, etc., etc. I guess where I'm at, yesterday and the day were pretty much the same. I'm over the chronic withdrawals. That lasted me about 3 days. 3 days where I was feeling like not so hot. Now it's moved on primarily to, it feels like, the mind, um, share this isn't just, this is Kratom, but, and I know I suffered from these things the last time I quit as well, with like the post-acute withdrawal symptoms, but I, I'm also working on Klonopin. I kind of realized recently that I've been in bad shape with Klonopin. I've just realized all the detriment it has had in my life taking benzos. So, that's a separate video, but what I've been doing as well is my mind and stuff is so foggy on this Klonopin. I know it contributes to anxiety. I know it contributes to depression. So I've kind of backed off. I just want a clear mind. So I know better than to just stop Klonopin altogether or to even do some major cuts. But I don't have a scale. I can't afford a scale currently. As sad as that is, because they're like $15 on whatever you call it, Amazon. As sad as it is, I can't afford one yet. But so I've kind of just been eyeballing things and trying to go down. My mind's been a little bit clearer, but with that comes, especially in this Kratom situation, it wasn't even that long I was taking Kratom, but I know I still had some problems from prior use. And I've just kind of been thinking like it's almost like we're born to be an addict, in a way, because usually most of us don't take it. Like people think that a lot of people party and use heroin or cocaine for a good time, and certainly some people do. But I think those people that do it on occasion and are looking for a good time, they do it on occasion. I don't think it's something that becomes a regular way of life. And I think with Kratom and other substances I've been using in my life, I think those were something I found to be tools to fight off perhaps, anxiety, depression, deeper things that go in. Now, since finding God, and I'm sorry if this is kind of a tangent and not just sticking to the Kratom because I've had like a million thoughts. It's been crazy the last 2 days. It's been very depressing, very dark. I got on a roll of listening to like sad like music I used to listen to that just brought me into this whole other mind space. Plus just realizations and, the Kratom, as you know, like it doesn't help anyways. It doesn't help us because when we come off, all of a sudden those things that have been numb, those different emotions or whatever, start to come to the surface again. And all of a sudden it's like we're left to deal with it, which is where I'm at now. The beautiful thing is that I have God to be able to deal with these things, but it's so easy to get caught up in this despair to where I'm like, man, I keep finding myself getting into like this depression where I'm focusing on me instead of God. And I see that as a major problem because I think if I'm focusing on that, God says to focus on Him and He'll take care of the rest. Like focus on Him and He'll take care of the rest. So I've been focusing on my state and how I feel. And then what happens is I get deeper into that state instead of going like, God, what do you want? And focusing on Him to where He can take me out of this state. And so that's kind of the last 2 days of darkness where I've come to realize what I'm going to work on right now is just connecting with God. I've been trying to, and I feel close to God right now. I do, like, but at the same time, my mind keeps coming in with all these problems I'm having. Like when I did this Kratom withdrawal, it honestly wasn't the best time. There's a bunch of things going on in my personal life that I won't get into that are hardcore. Like a lot of them are smaller items, but some of them are pretty big. And when you're faced with something like depression, anxiety anyways, and that's why you use Kratom, and then you come off of it and your receptors and different things that you're used to in your body aren't operating the same way they normally do because the Kratom is now gone. That stuff comes on anyways, and then when you add in a bundle full of issues, it really just starts to make you go like the same things that you ran from when you were taking the Kratom might be there. Plus, there was just more on top of that. I don't know if I'm making sense. I really feel like I'm just rambling. This is how I think. Like, this is my thought process during the day and what I've been in the last 2 days. But I did want to update and kind of just keep people posted where I'm at. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very worried about financial issues. You know, a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, well, why don't you just, you know, and they oh, it's only a few bucks. And it's like, man, like a few bucks might sound, you know, I don't think people understand my money issues to be entirely clear about that. Like, I don't have a few bucks. A few bucks isn't even generally an option. So that's been weighing on me because there are things I could use and need right now that, like the scale, for example, that would help me. And I haven't been sleeping well, and I know that that's the Kratom, and I also know that that's going down the Klonopin, but at the same time I want a clear head. And I can't, knowing that I can't keep going in. It's the same thing as with the Klonopin. I just knew I couldn't keep doing that to myself on a regular basis. It was so easy, and my thought process at first with the Kratom was to just keep going, like you have Kratom, like keep going, ride this out. But I know it's just going to get worse, and I know I'd have to deal with this. Eventually, you have to pay the piper, and eventually I'd have to deal with this. So I figured, why not now? Why wait? You know, problems really don't ever go away. There's always going to be problems. So why wait? You know, why wait? That's my thing. And if you're somebody watching this video right now and you're on Kratom and you're going, well, I'm going to wait for this or that, why wait? I mean, aside from having to work, like I understand if you have a job or you have children to take care of, it's really hard to just jump, like, and to have this time to do whatever, where I just have to make a video. Like, that's all I'm doing right now. I don't have any money, but of course I don't have those obligations. I don't live with my children right now. I don't, you know, I don't have those daily obligations. I have a few things I need to get done every day. But at this point, I'm functional enough to do those things. It's just hard to find that motivation that I used to have. So that's a big thing that I'm noticing is lacking. Like, even coming over and grabbing my little stick I used to film these videos with and charging up my phone. And it's just like, man, like I got to get up. And it's such an easy task, yet it feels so monumentous when your receptors and you're depressed and stuff is feeling. I mean, not that this depression is something I know that God can take. And please don't write and say, you know, encourage. I mean, you can if you want, but I'm not reaching for encouraging things. More my motive of making this video is just trying to share with people what I'm experiencing, so that if you're thinking about quitting, you kind of have an idea of what it's like for somebody to quit Kratom. And also, I'm looking at it as like kind of something for myself to reflect back on, because reflecting back on this stuff, if I had reflected back on my videos of what it felt like to come off Kratom, I might not have been doing it like I was. Just because you can see it in my face, and on the first few days here, you can see it in my face how I was feeling. So that's a good reminder to anybody. So if you're on Kratom right now, like, you know, it's a good reminder to yourself. And just seeing this, you might, if you're somebody that hasn't taken Kratom yet, man, I feel like I'm just rambling. I'm sorry. I apologize. Unfortunately, I don't get monetized for these videos, because it would be awesome, because a lot of people do seem to have issues with Kratom. A lot of people view Kratom videos. I don't believe I got any money for these. Some of my other videos are the ones that pull in the money, but which isn't a lot. It's been like $5 so far. But hey, while I'm thinking about it, this has been a true blessing, and all of this has been Rudy Henry signed up as a $5 Patreon, and God bless him. That's awesome to have somebody do that and to care enough and to help me out like that. That really means a lot, and that has been a big bright spot in all of this right now. So thank you so much, Rudy. I really appreciate that, and that helps me to continue to make these videos to help others, etc., etc. I am kind of backing off on helping others right now because of money. If time I'm investing, I need to invest in trying to make some money, as well as just getting through this state of mind right now. You know, there's points that they always say, like, and I was just speaking to somebody about this, they always say that when your glass is empty, it's hard to fill up others. And I kind of feel like lately it is. I don't know if I've been helping too much or if I have, because I could spend like all day doing that, but I don't know if it's that or if it's just this kratom withdrawal. Like this stuff is, mental game is rough. So I don't want to start taking a bunch of supplements, you know, adding on. I know like people might recommend St. John's wort or SAMe or et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's finances to consider there too. I'm just taking the ones I currently have, which I listed in my first earlier videos to do this quit. Tyrosine, unfortunately, it's a precursor, I believe, to DLPA, which would help. And if anybody's in this situation watching this video and you can afford it, I would recommend getting some DLPA. I've heard great things about it. I did take the tyrosine for a couple of days, and I wasn't experiencing this kind of depression or anxiety at that point. But at the same time, I really had a bad headache, and I believe it was attributed to that, so I stopped. And I can't afford to get just DLPA on its own. So the tyrosine did give me a headache, and I did read that that's a side effect for some people. So it might be the same with the DLPA, I'm not sure. But anybody that can try it and you have that option to try it, go ahead and try it, because I've heard wonderful things from people on how that helps them cope with this part of the kratom withdrawal, which is the PAWS, the post-acute withdrawal syndrome. This, for me, last time lasted 2 months, where each day it did get better. Now, I don't want this to be like this darkness and people going like, man, this is why I don't quit kratom or this or that. Like, it does get better. This is, you have to get through the fire before you can get to the land again, or the water. It does get better with time. It's just, I know, and I'm being very honest here. Like, you wouldn't see this in me in person. I wouldn't be walking around moping and stuff. I'm just trying to be very honest and very candid with the camera about how I'm feeling and my inner feelings. And it might come across, unfortunately, darker than I am. Like, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not in this just horrible pit of despair. I'm having a rough time, but it's not, you know, maybe it comes across as overplayed on this. But I'm just trying to be honest and open about it. But it does, and another thing is that it does go away. It's just part of the brain repairing itself and the body repairing itself from use. So it will go away. It's not something that we're going to have to, you know, deal with forever. And I know from past experience when I've quit before that it did last about 2 months, to where I had this different kind of anxiety and depression that came along, but it got better with the days that go around. So I'm noticing this 5 to 6 day kind of grouping is similar as far as depression, and anxiety can, you know, that can be attributed to going down the Klonopin as well. But, you know, I know it will get better, and it will. It always will, and it always does, and it did last time. So that's my words of whatever, sharing, my sharing time for today, for day 5 and 6 of kratom withdrawal. I'll try to do these often, somewhat often, to keep people posted, and like I said, so I can reflect back on why I don't want to use kratom more than like 1 or 2 days in a row. I think that's so important, to just stick to a couple days and then taking like 3 days off, not letting it snowball into where it becomes a daily again, so that I don't have to wind up here. Plus, it's probably good to keep off it as much as possible for a little while so that my brain can heal. I know that that's what's going on, is that my brain is trying to reacclimate, so I need to let it do that, and probably listen to some uplifting music, be in prayer, and connect with God and let Him sort out all these problems. So that's it, guys. If you feel so inclined, please donate in my link below. I've provided a couple links down there, and questions, comments, of course, always leave those below. When you guys comment, you're actually helping other people as well. With anything that you share, you're able to, you know, other people are able to look at this video down the road, and things that I don't cover or things that I don't mention or knowledge that you have or experiences are all, you know, cumulative down in there to where it's able to help other people as well. So I think that's awesome, and I always encourage that, guys. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. I'll be making more kratom videos and other videos as well, talking about my relationship with God and other things. Getting ready to do the Klonopin withdrawal. I'm gonna make a series on that as well, which that will be like a 2-year process. So anyways, that's it for this time, guys. Until next time, God bless.